And we've got this coast-to-coast storm system that started in California last weekend. It moves all the way across the nation getting into next weekend, but it doesn't really have a great chance of bringing a lot of rain to the southeast. So let's track it for you. Get you into tomorrow. Thunderstorms are still in the forecast in the middle of the country. See how slow it is to move? So we spend a couple of days with this heat, with this dry weather still in the southeast, including where those fires are burning. Then we get you into Friday. Now we bring in the chance of thunderstorms getting into the southeast. The mid-Atlantic, start to see some rain come back into the picture, getting into your Friday and then the weekend in the Northeast. You guys have been talking a lot about what's coming your way, right? Looking ahead to Mother's Day weekend, we've got rain. We've got gusty winds here. We have cool temperatures. We have it all to make you want to stay inside, go to the movies, plan for brunch inside. It is going to be a tough weekend up here because of our coastal storm that will be developing. A quick little bit of rain does come through the southeast, but it's probably not a lot. Here, the Northeast actually gets inches of rain as we look ahead to this coastal storm. Steph.
We still have flooding going on in the threat.
So we still have flood alerts up, and in fact, it stretches all the way down the Mississippi River. We still have rivers that are up at major flood stage in Missouri, but then, you know, we watch down into Tennessee, some of the gauges in Mississippi. It's going to be next week or beyond, but they're still going up.
That they are. So let's talk more about flooding and flood insurance. What is your best defense against high water?
We'll talk to Steve Ellis in Washington. He's vice president for Taxpayers for Common Sense and a member of Smarter, Safer Coalition. All right, common sense, yes, we need it, but we also need some help with this flooding that we've had. If you didn't have flood insurance and you got flooded, is there any way to get financial help?
Seems as if we're having some connection issues with Steve, so we'll have to get back to him if we get that fixed.
Yeah, don't you get the sense, Steph, that these days it feels like everyone should get it just in case? I mean, there's so many people outside of floodplains that
are getting flooded.
Yes.
All right.
And I exaggerate when I say everyone, but it extends more than just your traditional floodplain areas.
That is true. Reynolds, over to you.
All right.
Oh, no, in between studying about, radar and satellite, I missed the bear hibernation course. Anyway, we did have storms. I know something about that. We had thunderstorms yesterday that dropped a lot of storm reports in New Mexico, in Colorado. Again, we had hailstorms. And you notice that most of the reports actually were hail. 76 of the 86 reports from yesterday were hail. We had some big hail actually in parts of New Mexico, so much it was stacking up on one roof. That was in Parmar, Texas, I believe. So it was interesting, though, where it took place. It was underneath the upper level low. That was still a big feature over the southwest. And the typical area you expect by mid-May is actually right here in Oklahoma and parts of northern Texas. So we're sort of outside of that traditional area. We know the atmosphere doesn't always follow the rules, as it did not yesterday. The upper level low stuck around for a couple of days, right? It's still here today as a piece of our forecast puzzle. But today, the risk is going to be back into the area that you might expect. So right here across portions of western Oklahoma into the Texas Panhandle, we will see thunderstorms come back. And actually at play today will be our surface low moving into this area. We'll have a warm front across this area as well, but we're also going to have our dry line nudging right into that region. So let me show you how that is going to all pan out. Dry line leads the dry air that comes in off the southwest plateau. So you've got warm but dry air that comes in. That actually acts as somewhat of a lifting mechanism for this much warmer and moisture air that comes in from the Gulf of Mexico. So as this nudges in today into the Texas Panhandle, into western Oklahoma, that's going to help make the air rise, make the clouds form, and thunderstorms will pop. It depends, of course, on how much we clear out. So we're going to see the thunderstorms that we have ongoing this morning. This moves out. This is our forecast radar. This is 12 o'clock. If we get a couple of hours here with some sunshine, that's really going to help destabilize the air. It heats up the ground. It heats up the air right above it. You start to get air moving up. And once this dry line comes in, that will help that air rise even more rapidly. So watching these thunderstorms pop right in this area, this is about 4 or 5 o'clock. Those could be hailers. There's also the chance that some of those could spawn tornadoes as well. There'll be discrete supercells that we see roll into, say, west central Oklahoma into the early evening hours. This is now about 7 o'clock. At the same time, we're going to be having our stationary front or warm front, whatever it is this time, right up here into Kansas. That's going to help trigger showers and storms. That extends back into Missouri. It's going to lift a bit north as well into Iowa and Illinois, and that will also help trigger showers and storms. So this whole system, by the way, we've been tracking since last weekend. It started in California. We're going to keep it going. We keep it actually continuing to be a focus in our forecast today, tomorrow, and right into this upcoming weekend. There's a surface low. As we see the low-level moisture continue to evolve and move east, we will see some thunderstorms get into the southeast, though a lot of the energy will not be right here. So we'll see thunderstorms tomorrow into portions of East Texas, getting into Arkansas, getting into southern Missouri, and again, right along our warm front here in the Ohio Valley. But you see how the southeast, we are dry, and the reason is because there's a big high pressure, and that blocks everything. So it takes until Friday for that to weaken enough to allow some of the thunderstorms to come on in. But by far, Steph, I think all of the action now gets taken over by what happens on the mid-Atlantic coast and up into the northeast, which could be our coastal storm or even nor'easter for the weekend. And oh, by the way, we got something in the